Welcome back to another video. This is part 5 of the Crapganistan World Tour. If you've endured it so far, probably the hours of content I've made on this world already, then thanks for watching up to this point. So over here, this is the Museum. We just saw the Noble and Excess of Sad Museum over there. I'll try to be less in-depth with this because they deserve their own video as is. But the St. History Museum, here it is. We have displays over here. And over here is going to be all the museum items, all the stuff I got from the world. Because I copy and pasted with the structure blocks some of the actual items, the toolkits and all. And I do have the builds as well, however, I need to paste them here, so that will be its own separate video in the future. I'll make one dedicated. So this is just a brief rundown of all the little exhibits here. There were armor stands here, but sadly the armor stands when I transferred it over didn't come. If I guess the entities didn't want to come back or something. And there's an upstairs as well. Stairs and creative. And a little subsection over here. That's a little nuke. And there's a massive display over here. There's all the nation flags labeled, or at least the flags I can remember. There's so many flags from and like these few right here, I don't even know what they were for. Same with that one. I just know this was the St. Era 1 flag. I guess if I'm speaking of eras, I guess I should disclose a little bit about St. St. is there's a lot of lore to it. And so that's why this museum is so big. I actually wrote my own history of St. It's 20 pages long. And it's pretty in-depth, I'd say. Luminate, the world owner for St. Wrote his own history book for it as well. But yeah, it was a pretty cool world back when it was active. Perhaps I'll turn into a fiction book someday. Or here, that's the wall to the dead city, But over here, this is the arts. So, I guess if I just did St. I should probably do the Hope Museum. Because this is directly related to St. So the Hope History Museum is about a little town called Hope. This museum was made by Tamik, so don't mind the spelling. He was, I think, 12 years old. Something like that. But pretty much right after my nation in St. fell, they all established their own little nation. And so they made this Tamik made this little history museum. And here are a few museum items, I guess. Not original, of course. And then up here there's a little broken throne for a little subtle reference from the world. I'll go over that later. And now to the art museum. So the art museum was redesigned a few years ago. It used to look more like the Payday Art Museum, but I think this one just looks better. So in here, so there was actual map art, but because I transferred it over, it's it's not very well. So this is for back when I made map art. I made one of the St. James Hotel and the what was the town's name? Cimarron? I believe it was, in New Mexico. Destruction of Jaw Church, a classic Afghanistan picture, and then some random brands, like sort of like iron brands that you brand on boots or hiking sticks. And up here is banner art. Over here, there's a bunch of Pinterest map art I transferred over. And there's two little art pieces I made in what was it, the World Preps, which was hosted by my good friend Typical Gamer, who was the person who made the Fantastic Four, as well as this statue right here. We did a little build battle. Honestly, I think this statue won that build battle in my book, but I guess I won that one. I guess moving on, we have our financial district over here. A lot of these skyscrapers aren't actually interiorized yet. Over here, this is the plant skyscraper. It's supposed to be this intricate skyscraper of all these plants, even though realistically, especially because there's there's no glass here, like there'd be such harsh wind coming, I guess because it's so high up that the plants wouldn't do so good up there. But it's cool, since it's Minecraft, that you don't gotta worry about any of that stuff. Over here, this is the salmon, also made by Tamek. Harry the heron, apparently. But there's a whole religion based off of this salmon. There's a whole religious cult. And they have their own skyscraper over there. But this building right here was transferred over from Great Depression Simulator. I modified it because there were some aspects of it I just disliked. So this is a shit-stained phones, but I'm renaming it to shit phone or something like that. It's pretty much Apple, a reference to iPhones as a joke. Bluetooth, rose gold, shit pods. I did carry over that reference in Soul City. Over here, this is the APD, or Afghanistan Police Department. However, it also serves as like this FBI type of building. They have their cool own Apache here. Let me turn it day real quick. And they have their own parking lot as well. There's not much for interior on this one. I kind of wonder if there's any interior. Oh yeah, there is. Looks kind of cool. A little outdated though. And over here, this is going to be like a little fancy apartment. And we got this building, no idea what it's going to be. We got over here, this little smaller building is Blue Ho HQ. This is a reference to the world New Saint Funny how there's so many Saint but these are some of the statues that were from New Saint New Saint was hosted by Tamek, since he really liked the original Saint but didn't want to have to do with the bullshit. He made that one, so that's a little lore reference there. But yeah, Blue Ho HQ turned into, oh yeah, I didn't even realize it had little ads here. First member, non-tree, CEO, Pringles. Oh well, there used to be hardened stained glass there. I think I did have, no? Okay, I didn't get to any of the interiors up there. And then there is this building over here. This is the Radex Company. The Radex Company was a business I had in original Afghanistan, But I wanted to change it, turn it into like more of a cool research corporation. And I was experimenting with skyscrapers and like having them be sideways like that. And this is a little hypertube. At one point, I covered the entire city in hypertubes, and Tamek said it looked pretty stupid, and I kind of agreed with him on that. So I kept the hypertubes to just this area, since this lobby right here looks kind of badass. It also reminds me of Halo 2, you know, when you're in the tram system during the first, I guess, level of Halo 2. You're on that spaceship. So, yeah. Over here, I guess this is a pretty important area. Over here, there's the Deleted Minecraft Worlds Memorial. You know, these were some of the creative worlds I had, and these are some of the other survival worlds I had. And this is when I realized that never trust Reddit. So I wanted to see if I could I forgot what I was trying to do. I think I was trying to like get a world to work or something like that. I already backed up this world and like plenty of my main worlds, but these were some of the side worlds I lost. And that's because I trusted Reddit and uninstalled Minecraft or cleared cache data. That's what I did. I cleared cache data, and then I came back thinking that the worlds would be saved on the cloud because, you know, according to Minecraft, Bedrock worlds are saved on the cloud. I highly doubt that. It didn't work, and I lost these really good worlds. Sage Creations had some good builds in it. So that's why there's this little memorial. Over here, this is the original map for Afghanistan. Pretty massive, but overall, the idea of like the way it's set up is a little outdated. And over here, this is the original teleportation hub. This is pretty much, you know, the most important area. It's the hub of everything, or at least was, since most of these are out of order. The spawn area is now the new hub, but like there's the redstone area, the art plots, Soul City, that was a new one, Philmont, extra building space, St. Gulag, there was a Syria area, Nunu Saner, Project Gaia, oh yeah, San Siren. But now there's just a little teleport to spawn here. This was the AFK thing that didn't really work out since Tamek wanted to build some stuff while I was gone. That didn't really work. There's a little peace sign here because at the time of making that, I was doing a lot of look into the Vietnam War and like overall just hating the idea of the Vietnam War. My grandpa was in it, so that's why I'm heavily against it. And he told me about his time in Vietnam as well. So, little anti-war sentiment there. Oh, and this beauty of a structure right here. This is the Rick Ashley house, or just the Rick house. This used to be the chill spot on Afghanistan, the original Afghanistan. This was one of the key original builds. Down here, it said quote-unquote Star Wars theme, but it was actually the Rickroll theme. Like, I think maybe a week or two after this thing was built, they found a way to break it, and no one wanted to remake it. So this little area right here is supposed to be the chill out corner. You know, if you're getting really mad at the server host or something like that, you just chill out here and you eat some cake and go to bed. And there's just a scuffed version of Rick Ashley here. And I guess this is another important structure as well. So Do any of y'all know Warzone? You know, the original Warzone. I'm talking Modern Warfare 2019 edition Warzone. This was a replica of the Gulag. And there were actually Gulag battles which happened. If you were bad on the world, you know, did something the server host didn't like, you went here. And so there were often Gulag fights, and whoever won actually won their freedom. Otherwise, they'd be sent to the ranch dimension or, you know, zero, or like the far lands type area and other stuff. You know, revoke privileges. So, yeah, historic Afghanistan, original Afghanistan structure there. Over here we have the Doofenshmirtz Tower, another original iconic Afghanistan structure. Sadly, the original build was blown up tragically when the world owner, BC Twix, blew up the entire downtown area. This building was never recovered. And this district in general isn't entirely accurate to how it was. I had some old photos of Afghanistan, so I just sort of pieced it all together. There was a Kroger, there was some sort of bank here. I do need to update this building because concrete, using the bland concrete and the red concrete here, yeah, that doesn't work very well. It just doesn't have enough texture. And I added another 2 floors to the original Sage Tea store, which was originally a part of the Sage Inc., which was the corporation my character had. A little power room here. This is the, you know, they had the museum there. This little thing I think was called Happy Feet. It was built by Houston Daly, another original build, well, reconstructed from Afghanistan. And there's this was my commissions building. It was pretty shit, but I remade it into the engineer building. So pretty much it's like the height of all the buildings and the width in case I want to recreate something similar. Or just building facts. Like the Twin Towers, which I completely forgot to mention right here, are 185 blocks tall. Pretty fucking tall. On top of that, there's no interior, but a little story about this. The Twin Towers were originally built in the first Afghanistan, and for the longest time they were built by this guy by the name of Wastelander, I think was his name. But I decided to put the floor down for him in all of these towers as a little present. Keep in mind, the original one of these buildings were built without structure blocks at all, which is just crazy. A painstaking amount of time just to build these 2 buildings. But when I was recreating them back in 2022, I think it was, when this world was created, I just used structure blocks. I did breeze past this building as well. It's not original to Afghanistan, but it's original to Afghanistan Remaster, or New Afghanistan. You know, once again, still need to get a better name for it all because, you know, it gets confusing. But this right here is the only skyscraper that actually has a full interior. And once again, these were the hardened stained glass from Education Edition, so that's why there's nothing there. But there was a whole labeling, like there's a writer's office, you know, a few levels of writer offices, you know, a little boardroom. editor's office. You know, a few editor's offices. And there's where they do the news. You know, you got the audio booth over here. You got the green screen and all. You know, the commentators or camera people would be there. Oh, that's right. There were actual NPC spawn eggs being used there. But, yeah, they're gone as well. Then there's the reporter's office, which is the only floor that's not interiorized. Management. Ugh. And the CEO offices up here. I think this was the roof axis, yeah. So I guess there's a few other iconic buildings. There's a BNI. This was the original Afghanistan building from this was the first building made in Afghanistan, the original world. Just a lava cast building which was made of cobblestone. And this is a little eternal flame here of Afghanistan. You know, quote unquote, so long as the flame burns, Afghanistan burns with it. I guess that's true because the original world, explosions everywhere. Little fire department here. And there's the John Chernobyl Research Center. So this was an original building. I mean, it was originally a building here, but I made it different. I sort of based it off the game Control. You know, with some of the abstract, you know, like the what do you call it? You know, some of the yeah. But there's security, yeah, safe rooms. That's why I added that was based off of Control. And there's a little high security sample depot. Well, there was glass here. Same with the security. I think, yeah, and then there's the elevator. But I think that's as far as I really got. Yeah. But I was quite inspired by the game Control when it came to the interior of this building. So much so that I actually started building the original Control building. Which, if you look at pictures of it online, is a really bland looking building. But I think I mostly got the main entrance. Yep. But moving on, so you all know how I mentioned the salmon religion, right? Here, let's turn to day. So this is Salmon Tower. You know, a little salmon here, and they worship the salmon. You can also go. Oh, that's right. I didn't adjust all of that because the command blocks there are from the original world. So let me just get back there. So while we're, I guess, flying over there kind of slowly, this is a little industrial area, which was a part of Sage District. This whole area is Sage District. That was originally made by this guy, King William. Classic structure that he made. Little country club there. Jafar sign, a reference to another Minecraft world. Tamek built an apple, since he likes to put apples in everyone's heads. If he makes a character, he's putting an apple inside of it. So, Goth IHOP. Not much of interior. Little shopping plaza. This other shopping plaza was inspired by Pravda, the world I was mentioning earlier. One of the worlds I was mentioning earlier. Kind of hard to keep track of. But anyways, back to the Salmon Tower. We have the Pit of Salmon. We have the Salmon Song, the Salmon Mixtape. And there was a guy trying to fix the Mega Salmon Machine. There was an NPC there. Oh yeah, and there's also like, you know, a table for like each part of their, I guess, religion. But yeah, it was a cool little funny build to do. Using the salmon's color scheme block palette to make it. Over here, there's the car museum. We got some of the cars from Afghanistan, but I plan on making a DC area so I can better display like a sort of like a National Air and Space Museum, but more like a National Transportation Museum. Ooh. Glizzymobile! That was my favorite car. I guess getting closer to Chernobyl, since I guess we should go this way, there's the, like, one of the first, like, it wasn't the first build, but it was a early build of Afghanistan. It was just this pool. It stayed preserved in Afghanistan for a long time, but it does not exist today in Afghanistan. Along with the Siren Head, if y'all remember the Siren Head, like, craze, I guess, back in the, like, 2020, I think it was. This is a replica of the original, like, model that was made. And there's a no anime Crusader. So, back in 2020, of course, there's also a guy known as, like, I don't know, there's this Crusader guy, and they always had this cool helmet on, and it was funny because they're like no anime, and they'd get a shotgun or something like that. I'm not sure if that guy's a pedophile, but I mean, if he is, that aged very poorly. And of course, that guy is right on top of the original spawn building. So every old spawn has the new spawn there. There used to be the original map here. The remaster date. There was a logbook made. A little signage there. And here's some of the contributors, you know, Great Depression Simulator, Saner, New Saner, Afghanistan, you know, because some of the builds here I did take from other worlds, such as all of Chernobyl here. Yes, I did contribute to this build, but I still took it from the original world. But yeah, this is the Chernobyl Transit Center. Oh, I already did that. And this is the Sam Memorial. Another original Afghanistan reference. So right here, if anyone's been to DC or the DC area, you might know this. This is the National Arboretum. These were the original pillars, I think it was, of the White House. No, it was probably, I think it was the Capitol building. But it was like in this cool looking memorial type thing. And I decided this was like one of the first IRL builds I recreated from Minecraft, or from real life into Minecraft. But it was just a chill area. And, you know, it represents peace and nature. Meanwhile, what would have originally been in this space would have actually been an Air Force base. the Afghanistan Air Force Base, and the original Afghanistan, I'm saying. But in my version of it, there's a nice little arboretum area. And it's, of course, condensed down. I mean, they had this little, farm area, and, they had these little nature walks. There was the fern walk I went on, and there are a few other ones as well. So I guess we'll cover Chernobyl in a separate video. But I guess let's get through this downtown area, and then we'll say that this video is done. So I already went over the bank and the gun store. That's Ghostbusters. It used to be known as a more malicious name, you could say, but I'm not going to go into that. Over here, yeah, building coming soon. So in the most recent copy of this world, I turned this building into a geology center of learning. Pretty much I was using Minecraft books to help me study for my geology college class I was in. Since Minecraft has real world examples of geology, such as granite, basalt, diorite, tuff, and andesite, which are all real life blocks. Of course, there's coal as well. But yeah, really cool transformation of this build. Hopefully, I will get that sometime. This right here is the lighthouse from BioShock, made by Tamik, who is a huge nerd of BioShock. It looks pretty cool. I mean, it has, the ribbon here, the little dive bell. It has the upper parts as well. Yeah, there was a dead guy in there in the game. But I'm trying to get him to get on the project of recreating the entirety of Rapture. He doesn't like the idea because it's kind of a big project, since BioShock, like, the entirety of Rapture is pretty fucking massive. But, if you take it one piece at a time, it's not so massive. Over here, this is the Church of the Blue Flower. As I was saying before, the blue flower, it all starts with the blue flower. Blueho HQ, blue flower. They're kind of based on the same thing, owned by the same organization. It all starts with the blue flower is a reference to Nontree. So that dude Nontree I was mentioning earlier, he would he still does. He hosts these mods, Bedrock mods, since he's a mod tester on Bedrock. And he hosts these mod servers, or I guess like a group post sometimes, where he does like war servers or something like that. But there was this one time when it was this medieval mod. And so in order to make stone tools, you had to make a blueprint. And the blueprint could be made with blue dye. And so the cornflower was the most valuable flower in the game, because you needed that in order to make stone tools. So the joke started that it all starts with the blue flower. Over here, there's this little bar I was making. I actually edited the spacing for the buildings. Actually, I edited a lot of this. So if I were to do an original world tour, there would be no sidewalk. And I realized how crucial sidewalks were, so I actually moved these buildings back a little to add room for the sidewalk. But this is a little bar here. It needs a little renovation. A little billiards table. and one little hotel room, I guess. Over here we got some more transferred over buildings, which I did make. They're from oh, this is the original tea shop from Great Depression Simulator. Funny little name. And I had a little, what was it? I think it was a furniture shop. That's what this was. But I always liked building in brick. And Houston Daly, the owner of that world, never liked it. He was a brick hater at the time. So I find that funny. This building right here was made by Tamik. It's a cool little biome building. So it has like all the different biomes. You know, there's this cool little plains biome, and then there's this desert biome here. And cave biome. And what was the next one? Ice? Yeah, ice. So that was a pretty cool build that he made. Over here, this is the original Afghanistan Remastered library. So in this library, I decided I would write IRL Western books. So if you all recall when I was talking about that film on section on the map in the last video, I took a lot of pictures of everything I could find in the West. Fascinated. It's like going to the West Coast or Western area to me is like seeing another planet. It's such a different environment. And I took pictures of every little piece of history I could read there. So the funny thing is I wrote this based off of what a tour guide said. I wrote down everything they said. And so Cripple Creek was a little town in Colorado. I remember this story that they used dynamite to put out fires. And there's the Aztec Mill and, you know, other books here as well. You know, Baldy Town. But there are a few more books, some from St. and other worlds, of course. But it's a nice little library building. This is going to be, well, this is going to be like a little theater area because I really like theaters, like theater shows, musicals, theatrical performances. They're actually really impressive. I mean, it's crazy. The amount of time that these actors and these theater technicians put into plays like this, it's a lot. And when I was in high school, I really learned a lot about, you know, theater. This area would have been San Siren, that little western town I had, but I decided to move it since it would allow for more expansion of this area. Oh yeah, and then there's this flying ship made by Wastelander, that one guy who built the Twin Towers. And so it's a cool little ship, not really interior to it. And I mean, there's BBC Cracker Barrel, there's the Spirit Bar by Tamik, MILF Denny's. I guess I should probably tackle Jaw Church in another episode. Yeah, I think that's it for this episode. 40 minutes for this episode. So if you made it through that one, congrats. You know a little bit more lore about Crapganistan/Afghanistan. So until next time we'll go over Jaw Church, and I think we'll finally get to Chernobyl, the area I've been wanting to talk about for a while. Alright, see you all next time.